This video will help you set up your science notebook for Mr. Modest's science class. Science notebooks are important to scientists, and it's the place where they record their data and observations, their thinkings about what they're studying, and they have a record of what they've done they can refer back to, helps them develop their understanding of the world. These are four pictures from some famous scientists' notebooks. Charles Darwin, in his notebook here, where he figured out how organisms change over time, drew the first family tree. Marie Curie got a Nobel Prize for her work on radioactivity. Gregor Mendel is called the father of genetics because he figured out how parents pass down their traits to their offspring. And Linus Pauling got a Nobel Prize. It's a picture from his science notebook for his work on vitamin C. So all the stuff in red here you're going to want to do today, either as the video plays, pause the video and do it while it plays, however you get there. I have pictures of what these statements look like too on the next slide. But first, let me tell you what you have to do. So after you open your science notebook, you're going to have a title page, and the title page is going to be the table of contents, and on there you'll list the 6 units that we'll cover during the year. For example, scientific inquiry, properties of matter, then I think it's cell respiration, photosynthesis. What you need to do is look at the course description sheet, the yellow sheet I gave you in class, that tells you those unit titles, and you just list them on there. Then number pages 1 to 50. Start on the first page on your table of contents and number all the way to 50, and just stop there. You can add more pages later after you get past 50. Then within your science notebook, each unit that we have is going to have a title page. So if you turn your table of contents to the next page, you should use that whole page and call it, this will be your first unit, so it'll be scientific inquiry or scientific method unit, something like that. That will be your title page. Then each unit or chapter of your science notebook is going to begin with a vocabulary list. I'll give you the vocabulary list for this unit in just a second, and you can copy that down. So what goes in your scientific notebook besides 1 through 4 that I just said? Well, every day in class, well, not every day, but a lot of days we do warm-up questions that kind of help us process the content a little bit. You take your notes for the unit on the things that we're learning in there. We do different thinking maps to help us understand the content. We do data from experiments. Sometimes we're building graphs in there. So it's a lot of resources that we use during the class. Some students, and you can see the example notebooks up at the front of class, one of them has little tabs sticking out of the margin of the book that shows where the units are. If you want to do the tape tab thing, you can do that, but you don't have to. And so I'll show you some examples of 1 through 4 here in the next slide. And it's really important that in your science notebook that you take the time to be neat and do your best work, because it's that notebook that you're going to use to study for our tests. And if you really take your time and do a good job and you get all the information in there, it makes studying and getting ready for the test much easier. And it's collected once a unit for a grade. So again, this kind of statement says it's going to be your resource to review concepts. It'll help you with your homework, so you want to take good notes. It's going to help you study for tests. And you'll be putting some of your original data from our experiments in there, and first thoughts about experimental conclusions. And it's great. So here's 3 pictures to kind of show you the main parts that you're setting up right now. So the first page of the book is supposed to be a table of contents. And so you have listed here the different units that we're going to be doing. So you can pause the video, do that right now. Then you turn a page, and then the next page is going to be the title page for our first unit, which is scientific method. Note that these page numbers here are for this student's book. Yours are going to be different, and you can't actually write what the page numbers are going to be for these units until we get to those units. So don't worry about page numbers right in here now. But the 1 through 50 I talked about, you start numbering your page numbers at the bottom of the page here. So you've got your title page, you turn your title page. On the next page, you do the vocabulary list. So here's the vocabulary list they had for the first unit. And so I'll show you what your vocabulary list is. Next slide. So once you got the first parts done, you want to write your vocabulary down. These are the parts, or the words that you'll list. Skip lines between them. You'll come back as we learn them and be writing definitions for them throughout the semester. throughout the unit, I mean. And that's it. So if you've done all those parts that I've mentioned in the video today, your video notebook is ready to go.